Hello and welcome to the pop-up card maker channel, everyone. In this video we'll be making this beautiful planet Saturn pop-up card. Saturn with these nice beautiful rings. This pop-up card is going to be A3 in its overall size. So that's A3 when it's unfolded, and when it's folded it's going to be A4. And I'll be using several cards. You'll need an A3 card like this one, about 180 GSM in thickness. As for the mounting, so the backdrop will be mounted onto this card. Then you will need some A4 cards, so 3 black cards here in my case. You could use black, you could use other colors. One of them will be to make all the objects, and the other 2 A4 cards are going to be to paint the backdrop where the stars are going to be. Then I am going to be using some grey colored cards for the rings. Two parts of the ring that I'm going to be making, and I'm using one A4 card for each of those. And finally, I'm going to be using some light brown cards to make the actual planet. So this is where the planets are going to be drawn on. You'll also need a white card for your cover design. Other materials you need, obviously you need some paints for the painting the planet, the backdrop, the rings. So I'm using least amount of paint as possible. It's a pop-up card, don't want to damage. When the card gets soggy, it doesn't pop up properly, so less paint the better. So here we'll be focusing on the design and the measurements. I've made my card on Adobe Illustrator. Pause for the measurements, please. These are very important steps. Although the card is A3, 2 sides of A4 folded, card we are using is in A4, so any measurements you need to reflect this. You could make it bigger or smaller, adjust the size accordingly. This is me just creating my work on the computer, but when you do it, I will be showing the final designs, so you just need to try and make your designs look similar. It doesn't have to be exact, but just make it as close as possible for it to work. So once you've created your design, they should look like this. Here's the measurement again, just making sure that you use these measurements. So we're going to start off by painting the backdrop. I'm only using white, blue and red color. This is to create this space background. First, just follow as I'm doing. You can create your own design. This is just my version. like I say, you can create it. Your version could look like anything that you prefer. You could have a space, galaxy, or whatever. I'm using some silver markers to sort of just make some stars. So once you finish painting this space, turn the pages over and just apply some masking tape like I'm doing. This is because we're going to trim the card, so I want to make sure that they are trimmed perfectly and not uneven. The reason I'm trimming is because these two pages will be fixed to the backing sheet, so they should have a slight border, which you'll see why, but I'm just knocking off about probably 5 cm from centimeters from the top and the sides. And then you can just remove the tapes, and we're done with the backdrop for now. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that A3 backing sheet, we're going to fold it in half. So this is basically our cover and the back support page, cover and back support. So you fold it in half, crease it in the middle, and then as you can see, your backdrop will be just mounted on this, just like I'm doing. And you can see I've kept a slight small border all around it, so just to give it that better presentation. And also because you have a crease going around the middle, so you're going to make sure there's a gap. And I'm just applying some masking tape to make sure that, because there will be other work we'll be doing with this, just to keep it in the right place. So just follow along. So for this part, we will be making the top and bottom pieces here, the ones highlighted with the red arrow. So they're very important pieces. They will be the ones that are holding the planet together, and when you open and close, they pull it. So just use another black A4 card here and follow the measurements I showed on the previous screen and cut accordingly. Obviously bear in mind there will be folds, so follow where the folds are, the creases. Then the next bit we're going to do is we're going to cut those 3 pieces in the middle, again highlighted with the red arrow. They're going to be the main pieces for the planet, sort of the leg support. It's very important these pieces are strong. If you don't make it very strong and thick, then when the card opens, it won't have the strength to expand the planet fully, and therefore the planet won't look as nice. If necessary, you may have to insert something to make it even thick. I'm using, I think, 3 or 4 layers here just to keep it strong, but if you need to, use more, and just make sure these are quite strong and thick. I'm just showing here how they should look. So basically one of the pieces will have a flap at the bottom. That's where it's going to be fixed to the bottom card, and then the top part was going to be connected to the planet. Again, fold in the right places. So here I am going to be just cutting some slots on the backdrop to fit where those long and short pull tabs are going to go. And in terms of measurements, so I think 13.5 cm from top and bottom. So I'm just going to cut a slot here, and we're going to do the same on the other side, and then we'll be able to later fix our pull pieces together. Thirteen and a half cm from the top and bottom, 4 cm from the right hand side edge. That's where you should put this is a shorter piece, by the way. So the two piece, one was long, one was the short. The long one goes on the left hand side and the shorter one goes on the right hand side, and doing the same thing again. Now I am going to be gluing these pieces together. They're the larger pieces that will hold the planet, or they're basically the strength of the leg and support of the planet. Like I said before, these try and make them as strong as possible. Use thick cards. I'm using double-sided tape here, but you can use your normal preferred glue. So stick as I am doing. So the main piece is the one with the flap at the bottom, and then this longer one with the smaller section on the top is going on this side, and then the other piece will be going on top of this. It doesn't really matter which order, it's just to make the stand as strong as possible. So the next piece, this is one of the longer pull tabs we created earlier, and this is going to go on one of the sides here, as you can see, and apply it as I am doing. This is going to be basically facing the left hand side of the card. So when that piece sits, it's going to be sitting on the left hand side. And I've got one more piece to apply. So I'm just applying more double-sided tape just so it's done properly. So that's done. That's how it's going to be. So this support piece is going to sit just near the middle crease. Give it a little paint so it kind of matches with the rest of the backdrop. Ideally we don't want to have this in a different sort of color, so yeah, it should look part of the backdrop. This is meant to be an invisible piece. And now we're going to be making the pieces for the planet. So we first need to use the piece I showed earlier. You draw the piece you draw. Now we're going to just trace this on the card we're going to use for the planet. So in my case, the light brown card. I need about 12 of these pieces all together, so I'm going to do 6 on each page. So 6 on this and 6 on the other page. And as you can see, I am sort of going to draw it, and I'm going to go over it again. Here we're gonna crease the lines. This is how the folds are gonna be. They'll help create the globe effect. So just like I say, you can get 6 on each page plus the 2 gears. What I did was, because obviously the lines are dark, I've reversed my drawings, so when I fold these pieces, you will see the black lines are going to go on the inside, so we don't see the black lines, because obviously we're going to paint it and we don't want to see these black lines. So when I fold it, I make sure they're folded both ways, so I can easily use the other side. So the black line helps you know where to fold. Then now we're gonna cut a slot out here, and on the other piece, this is where the 2 of those pull strings are gonna go, one on each side of the planet. So again, you crease all those bits along the top, and then cut the shape out. So here you can see this is all the pieces that we need, so I've cut them out. and I folded them inwards so the black lines are on the inside. And what happens is, these are the little pieces. We're gonna, each of those little tabs are gonna be glued, and we're fixing the pieces along each of those. So there's 12 of those pieces there, those little tabs, and each one is where each of the planet pieces are going to be sort of glued. Just follow along. So we need to make sure that we leave some gaps between the pieces. So it is very important to leave that amount of gap. So when you're applying them, make sure you apply as I'm showing, for it to flex when it opens up. So that's one side of the globe done. And what I have to do now is we're gonna have to fix one of those pull strings. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna push through one of those. That's the bit that sticks out from that stand, not the long piece that we cut before. This is the bit that was part of the support stand, top of that you remember, one of the 4 pieces that we cut. So this is gonna go fit through that hole, or that little slot that we made, and we're just gonna glue it. You need to fix this now, because once the planet is both sides applied, you won't be able to do this otherwise. So once only one side of the planet is done, we glue this bit on. Very important, otherwise you won't be able to do it later. So once that's done, we then pick the other piece. This is the shorter of the 2 pieces, the pull string pieces that we made. And where this is going to go is on this bit here. So we have to again fix this now. Now I have to mount this onto the planet and pull in the other side of the planet together, otherwise we won't be able to add this piece later on. So I'm just cutting it a little bit shorter here so it sort of fits in. So at this stage here now you fix this, glue this together. Again, if you don't do this now, you won't be able to do this later. You can have it glued on the outside, but it just won't look very good. So when that's ready, we can then start putting all those edges onto those 2 of sort of teeths. So glue one by one, and again, like before, leave the gap that I mentioned. So gluing the final pieces on now. And again, just making sure that each piece you twist, you turn them in, and then you sort of apply like I'm showing. So all the pieces are now connected, and the globe is now complete. We just need to make sure that it opens. Basically, this is how it should look on the card. So as you can see, that's how the planet will sit when the card is open. The more pull from both sides, the more circular the globe will open. Otherwise, you'll have a kind of a slightly funny shape. So obviously, you can't get a proper globe shape. It's because this card is quite small. So the next part for me is I'm painting the planet Saturn, just giving it a light sort of a brown, orangey sort of paint. Now you don't have to paint yours. It's up to you. You can paint any other color. In fact, you don't have to make it Saturn. It could be any other planet for you. Bear in mind, when you paint it, the card becomes a bit soggy and it does affect the pop-up. So personally, I'd advise not to paint pop-ups, but I did it anyway. And now we're going to be making the ring. So here's the measurements. Again, pause. Take note of the measurement for your designs. And this is my piece, so I cut the two pieces out on my grey card. Remember to add this small tab on your drawings, as this wasn't on the drawings I showed earlier. This little piece connects the rings to the planet. These are going to be double-sided because when you want, you don't want to see a grey side and one side being painted. Again, you don't have to paint these. You could have left it any color. I painted mine, as you will see. One thing to note is both of these pieces are not identical in size, so they are different, and just make sure that is the case. And they're just going to crease the lines. So this is where the fold is going to be for the other smaller piece to sit. So in my case, I've painted the ring. So you just draw the lines and you just paint it. You don't have to paint it in your case if you don't want to. This is how my pieces look. So when I glue them together, you'll see I've already painted both sides. So once you've completed painting the ring, if you paint it, give it a fold just to make sure it folds properly, and do any finishing touches, like I'm finishing off the other side.
It's just a laid back vibe, baby. Straight up. It's just a laid back vibe, baby. Straight up.
Now I'm just going to trim the edges off, so any white borders, just going to trim them all off.
It's just a laid back vibe, baby. Straight up. It ain't nothing but a laid back vibe.
Now on the back side of the cover, just applying double-sided tape so that I can mount it onto the main cover. Again, you could use glue. I've used double-sided tape. Just make sure it's nice and centralized, so all the borders are equal all around.
Straight up. Straight up. Straight up. It's just a laid back vibe, baby. Straight up. It ain't nothing but a laid back vibe.
Here I will be applying double-sided tape on the inside of the backdrop, both of the backdrop pieces. So as you can see, because of the masking tape, I can flip it over and just apply some double-sided tape. Glue will do fine again. Tape down the top part of the backdrop, so along the middle fold. Remove all those masking tapes carefully, so you don't want to peel off any of the backdrop. So this part I am feeding through the longer of the pull strings into the slot that we cut earlier, and just in this case I was using a masking tape just to keep it in position, but yeah, you glue that on the inside. Again, you don't have to do it in that way. You could always have this piece stuck on top of your backdrop, but it's just that it shows. So in order to make it look neat, I did it from the underside, so it's glued in the back, so you don't really you don't see it, and it looks nice and neat. And we will do the same thing here now on this side. So we will apply some double-sided tape. So on this side, just making sure that although I'm applying tape, I'm leaving that little bit free in the middle, because that's where that cut is. So we don't want to stick this bit down where I just put the masking tape on, that middle part there. So that's where the support leg actually slots in, and then we glue it. Again, it didn't have to be done this way. Easy, simpler way of doing it is just gluing it on the top of the backdrop, but to make it look good, I did it this way. So here, just applying that flap on the inside. So you can see when you fold over, that just slots in there nice and neat. and then you can apply the rest of the, take all the backing off from the double-sided tape and just apply this. But before you do, we have to also fix this part of the pull string, and just putting some extra glues in. And as you can see, and again just making sure that the backdrop is nice and equal all around, so you've got the border around the card is equal everywhere. As you can see, the planet's already now taking shape. So you've got the three pieces here. So you have the left hand side piece that's stuck down, and then you have the middle piece which has to be quite thick and strong, as I mentioned earlier. And then you have this other piece that's going from the top, and then there's this piece going from the bottom of the planet to the backdrop. And just make sure that it's all dried up, glued on properly and dried, and then give it a fold. As you can see, it's folding nice and well, and just making sure it's all stuck down properly now. It's almost there. So here now we're going to be applying the ring onto the planet, and the ring is basically going to sit on those pull string pieces. So the ring is going to sit on those pull string pieces along one side along the top. So the just apply some glue here on top and bottom. So just try to do it along this straight sort of line. Just make sure it's kind of that shape sits nicely, so, and it's as equal all around as possible, so it looks good. So the ring sort of sits kind of flushed along the top piece, that pull string piece, and then on the bottom part, and it's done. So you can see how those pieces pull together the planet, pull open the planet, as you can see how those pull strings pull open the globe to give it that nice shape. Just apply additional glue, I think, on this part here, just making sure everything's stuck down. Do your proper checks. And we're finally done. We have completed making the planet Saturn pop-up card. Time for that opener. There you go. And as you can see, it sort of opens really nice, and I think it looks good. Your version may be even better than mine. If you enjoyed my work, please do subscribe to my channel and like this video, as it really helps out. Let me know how you got on, if you decided to stick with Saturn or did a different planet, and if you need any advice or any clarification for anything covered in this video, let me know in the comments, and I will try and support you. But yeah, thank you again for watching my videos. Let me know if you have any suggestions for any pop-ups that you'd like to see me make, and I'll try my best to make them in an upcoming video. Thank you for watching again, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thank you. Bye bye.